everybody. I'm back.
It's Sarah. Yay! Melanie, we love you, but it's so nice having Sarah here.
Melanie is on vacation with her 4 children and her husband, traveling and camping and stuff.
Yep.
And so ToRAISE asked me to come back and fill in.
Yes.
And I gotta say, I'm glad I'm not Melanie right now. Although it looks like they're having a blast.
Yeah, it does look like they're having fun.
She's having so much fun. She's
showing, but what it is, it's like the Christmas letter or the Facebook page stuff where people talk about their good stuff.
Yeah. Although Melanie's so funny and so honest, she'll post all of her kids being perfect in a 2-hour line, and then she shows one of her kids whining about something, not getting a Slurpee or something.
Yeah, they're doing what I think is best is. And she'll talk about it, I'm sure, when she gets back. But they're going up to Maine, and I think they finally arrived. But they were doing a pizza tour through the Northeast.
They're big foodies. She and her husband.
Yes.
So hi, I'm Sarah. I'm back for a short time. This is ToRAISE Questions, the Two Labor Doula podcast. I haven't said that in a while. I've had basically the summer off. Hi, ToRAISE.
Hey, Sarah.
So how's it going? What's new? How's Two Labor, y'all?
We're
still training and certifying doulas around North America?
Yes, we are. So we are an international doula training program, and everything's going well. We have...
what workshops do you have coming up?
In the fall, we're just full. Our calendar is really full.
But your workshops aren't full. There's still space for people to register.
Absolutely. But we have plenty of workshops coming up. For instance, Wilmington, North Carolina in September. Great area and great, I will just encourage people to travel just because I know how nice it is to get away from your life for a little bit, especially if you get to take a workshop and immerse yourself in it. I mean, most people think, well, I just have to do it in my hometown. But Wilmington, North Carolina, the beach is really close by. It's a great time of year. So that's September 18th through the 20th. We also have a training for acupressure for birth attendants in LaGrange, Illinois. It's the Chicago area. That's September 26th through 27th. We have very few spaces left in that, but it's a great continuing ed opportunity. And again, Chicago is an easy place for most people to get to. We'll be in Portland, Oregon at the beginning of October, San Diego in October, Cincinnati, Ohio in October, Wilmington, Delaware in October, Milwaukee, Wisconsin in November, and also back in Chicago for a doula training in November, and Beaufort, St. Helens Island in Beaufort County, South Carolina in December.
You're all over the place.
Yeah, lots and lots of workshops.
So sign up for a workshop. They're great. So this is a little side note. I got a speeding ticket and I have to go to traffic school. They let me go to traffic school instead of getting points. And I was thinking, I signed up for this online class where you can do it yourself. And I was like, I wish ToRAISE taught traffic school because then I could go to a weekend workshop and actually spend time with people that get me and get what I care about, which honestly is not traffic. But instead I'm doing this online course, which is awful. So that's my request for Two Labor's expansion is traffic school.
Okay. And sure, we could do that, and how to talk and how to advocate for yourself.
Wait 3 seconds before you stop.
Before you say anything. Yeah. How to avoid being harmed in any way.
Yeah. I think it could be a good fit for you.
Oh, thanks.
Anyway, stay tuned because coming up we have an awesome interview with an artist named Susan Singer who has done a really cool book called Birth Affirmations. So stay tuned. Today we have on the phone the artist Susan Singer, who is the author and illustrator of a book on birth affirmations. Welcome, Susan. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Hey, Susan, this is ToRAISE.
Hey, ToRAISE, it's great to hear your voice.
You too. So we wanted to have you on to talk about your book because we think that it is a real gift, a great opportunity for pregnant women to be able to have something very visual for them to guide them through their pregnancy with these positive affirmations and with your beautiful illustrations. And So we think for our listeners, this can be really beneficial if they are pregnant. And then, of course, for our main listening body, which are those who are working in the childbirth field, we want them to know about this book. We want them to be able to own it themselves. We'd like them to be able to know that they can recommend it to to buy. Their clients can buy, which we'll talk about how they can go about doing that, or they can buy them themselves and gift it as part of their package. So we're excited to talk to you about what made you decide to do this book. But first, how about giving us a little bit of background about who you are and how you came to this place?
Sure, and thank you for those kind things. That's very kind of you to say that.
You're welcome.
I started doing art in 1996. I was going through a divorce and needed something to fill my time because my kids were with their dad part of the time, and I hated that. And so I started doing art, and the first thing that really spoke to me that I drew was pictures of myself when I was pregnant. And as
so
I
interesting. Do you remember why that was the first thing that you were drawn to, or it just was?
Well, I've noticed as I've taught art that students have a hard time coming up with a subject, and but once they do, once they find what really speaks to them, they're electrified. And I didn't know how to draw. I hadn't done drawing before, really, and I happened upon these pictures, and I thought, those are nice. I'll try them.
Which is amazing. I just have to interrupt. It's amazing that you didn't know how to draw because, I mean, I just assumed, Susan, that you've always done art your whole life.
No, my mother is an artist, and my father was artistic, so I grew up around art, and I took a class in college, but it just wasn't something that I did.
Yeah.
I was not the one in the family who was drawing all the time.
I think that's just so inspiring, hopeful to those who are listening who may have never never thought that they could draw. And here's an example of just try it. And whether you end up being you or not, what a great experience. But go ahead.
Well, just to interject real quickly, I saw Van Gogh's museum when I was 22 and in Amsterdam, and I saw that he didn't start drawing until he was 27, and his first drawings sucked. They were not skillful. Yeah. And then I saw how hard he worked and how good he got. And he only drew for like 10 years, and I thought, man, I can start to draw anytime I want to.
That's good. If
he could be that good, what the heck? Yeah. So, yeah, it's never too late. So, yeah, the pregnant body just, it spoke to me. Creating the volume was it's sensuous.
Yeah.
It's a sensual experience to draw breasts and rounded belly.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just something about it. I don't think there's anything more beautiful on earth than a pregnant woman.
Did you think that while you were pregnant?
No.
Interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting.
My husband was not interested in my pregnant body, and so I felt less than. It was hard. It was hard. And so, no, I didn't get to revel in that gorgeousness. And that's one reason that these affirmations are so great, because I have things like, I love my pregnant belly.
Right.
And my pregnant body is gorgeous and voluptuous and beautiful.
Yeah.
So to offer this possibility for the women who read the book to perceive themselves that way if they don't already. I think many women do, but... Well,
I think a lot of women don't think of themselves as voluptuous, which I love that word. I just think it's such a juicy word to me, and to hear it used in pregnancy, I think is so important, because there, as you said, it's so sensual. It's such your body does. It should be allowed to become that voluptuous form, and yet I think in our culture, voluptuousness is appreciated when you look at Renaissance paintings, or women will say, well, like Beyonce is voluptuous, but you really look at Beyonce, and she's pretty not. I mean, she's not my idea of voluptuous in the same way, but I think our culture has said, especially in the star world, you're physically fit when you are pregnant. And instead of, I just like that word, voluptuous. It doesn't have to be out of shape. It just says so much to me personally.
Yeah, the German word is so perfect. It's saftig.
Yeah.
Which it means juicy.
Oh, isn't that funny? Because that's
great?
Yeah, that's what I said. It's such a juicy word to me. I had no idea that's what it was in German. Pretty cool.
I'm looking through the affirmations now. One of them is I'm wonderfully comfortable with my luscious body, body. I think it's an interesting time because I think I don't know. I have no idea what percentage of American women have body image problems, but I think it's 100.
95.
Yeah. And either you're too skinny or you're too fat or you're too tall or you're too short or your boobs are too big or too small or whatever. And pregnancy is a time for some people that you're supposed to, some of the supposed to goes away. And I think for women who are smaller, they have that voluptuousness. For women who are larger, suddenly that voluptuousness is allowed.
Right.
And so it's very interesting how you came to this, and that affirmations about the body are part of this affirmation book, beyond just birth.
Oh yeah, they're critical, I think. I remember when I was pregnant, I was living in Ohio, and my parents were here in Richmond, and I was planning to come see my father, and I was so embarrassed because I was pregnant. And my belly was big, and he'd always told me to hold my stomach in.
Wow.
And I couldn't anymore.
Right.
And so I was so embarrassed to see him. And there's an illness there,
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Susan, I was going to say you've come a long way, baby, because those of you listening, we're going to talk about this. Susan's career evolved into painting naked women all over the place, including herself, belly in, belly out, belly every which way. So that's you've come a long way for sure.
Well, my art has been my healing.
Yeah.
It's been my healer. I do art to heal.
Tell us about how, speaking of that, how your art evolved from the getting into art with pregnant bellies, and then where it went from there.
Two of my sons had life-saving operations, and my younger son Dylan asked me to photograph his scar because he couldn't see it right after his operation, and I had to draw it because I had to come to terms with this operation that just saved his life. And so I drew scars that were like 2 feet by 3 feet.
Wow.
And I hung them up at MCV, the hospital here in Richmond, and 80,000 people went by them every day and saw these scars. And so that was how I came to terms with my kids' operations. I drew other people's scars as well, and then I wrote the stories to go along with them, or had people write their own stories about their scars. And then the last one of the series was a man who had no scars. I called him flawless. He is a gymnast. His body is as ideal as a man's body can be. But I was tired of scars, so I drew him.
Nice.
And then I started, I was in an art class at the time, and my teacher was very disturbed by the body because it was red and it looked like he had a sunburn. And I drew another one, and it was green, and it was only the torso, and the teacher was really disturbed by it. And I was so fascinated by her response that I had to do more. So I did 12 naked men, just the torsos, and I hung them in a room. So you'd walk into a round room, and you were surrounded by male nudity, which is not something many people get to see.
No.
We see female nudes.
Yeah.
We don't see men. And some of these men were large, some were small, some were fit, some were not. One man was 50, and he said, I have never seen myself like that before. He was one of my models, and we exchanged, 100 emails about it, just him coming to terms with seeing the age on his body. And so it was an opportunity for men to look at other men, which I think they're not usually allowed to do. One man said, I've never been able to look at other men. They'd think I was gay. I'm not allowed to do it.
Interesting.
Those were restrictions, restrictions he had on himself. And he came out and cried and said, I've never been able to look at men before. And now I see that my body is nice.
Yeah, that's good.
It was so beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And so after that, I got remarried, and I thought maybe I can't be a wife and an artist at the same time. And I don't know why I thought that, but my husband kept saying, so let's get this file cabinet for your studio, and I think these tables would work, and you need better light. And I'm like, but I kept making art. And then we built a glorious new studio, and that was when I knew I could do my female nudes, because I'd been needing to do them for years, but I just hadn't had the setup to do it. So I started painting life-size female nudes of all ages, shapes, races, sizes, everything. Those are the ones you were talking about, Sarah. Bellies in, bellies out, bellies every which way.
Is there any way that people can see? Do you have them on your website or anything where people could see some of these?
Of course I do.
And
Thank
what
you
is
for
your
asking.
what is your web address, Susan Singer?
I have two different websites.
Okay.
The one where the female nudes is susansinger.com.
Okay, that's simple. SusanSinger.com. So that'll be
trying
where.
to keep it simple.
Yeah, and so they'll see the artwork that you're talking, some of which you're talking about.
Yeah, the men are on there, the scars are on there, the women are on there, and then the birth affirmations one are at birthaffirmationsbook.com.
Okay, got it.
Okay, great, and we'll say that again later as well.
So you started doing these female nudes, and how long did that period last for you? Or is it over?
Well, I don't know. I just photographed somebody the other day, and she was so beautiful. I have to paint her. So I guess it's not completely over. But I was very actively involved with it for about 3 or 4 years. Mm-hmm. And in the midst of that, I recognized that almost everyone I was painting was in her own right a performer, an artist, a writer, a creative of some kind. And so, or was passionate about something. And so I asked these women to come together and create an evening about her passion. Mm-hmm. And so we had 7 nights of performances called Beyond Barbie. And we had...
That's such a great name.
Thank you. We had a night about birth that ToRAISE did.
It was
we had
awesome.
a night... It was. Yeah. What was it? 7 women told their birth story, read their birth story.
Oh, it was such an art. Yeah, it was so moving and such a, and the group dynamic also our discussions that we have were really, really good. But the whole series was just phenomenal.
It was so exciting. We did it for 4 years, and covered so many touchy topics. We covered politics and religion and body modification and domestic violence, and it just ran the gamut. Mm-hmm. Anybody who wanted to do a night could ask me, and then, if they had the skills to pull it off, they could have a night. And they produced it however they wanted to, so every night was unique and different.
It was great.
It was cool. Yeah, it was exciting.
Cool.
So then I... let's see, I've done other things, landscapes and vegetables and stuff, whatever was in front of me. And then I was writing a book on creativity, and I went to a silent retreat and took time to stop and listen. And that still small voice inside of me, which when I allow it to, tells me what to do, said, do the birth affirmation book first. And so I came home, that was last October, and or April, I don't remember, pulled out the drawings that I'd done 15 years ago, pulled out some birth affirmations I'd had from then, made up some new ones, asked people for photographs on Facebook. I love Facebook. Took some new photographs, drew them, and then learned how to do Adobe Photoshop and InDesign and whatever the other, Illustrator, and designed the book, and then got it printed. So it came out a month ago.
And, Susan, looking at the process that you went through to get to this place, it was all, I mean, it's so interesting because it's almost like that full circle coming around of,
Yeah, I know.
of you getting healing at the beginning of your divorce, with your pregnant belly, revisiting all of that in your pregnancies, and then all of the experiences you just described. And here you are back with birth again, which is so, I mean, being in the field, I relate everything to birth and the labor process and the whole pregnancy year, about that growth that we go through. I mean, it represents life. And so when I look at your book, I know it is targeted specifically to the pregnant year, but I also would always, I'm a true believer, and we talk about this in workshops, in birth affirmations or affirmations overall, but for women and their partners who are going through pregnancy, there is nothing like, we're so filled you love Facebook. I love Facebook. I hate Facebook because the downside to it is you can inundate yourself with everybody else's stories. You can be filled with fear. You can be filled with anxiety. It can fuel already fear and anxiety in you. And so, it's hard to get away from it. It's people like to tell you their bad situations. They like to share their stories. And so to me, the antidote for that are affirmations. And one of the things we recommend to people in their pregnancy is to write down affirmations, to have those visually, that they can see them and create that message in their mind. And so, this is why I want to promote the book, is because from our perspective, this is such a great tool. It can be hard for people, though, to know what those affirmations should be, or how to word them, or what they are visualizing. So your book, having, all these suggestions in there, are just, it's all they need if that's all they want. But I like also at the end. I
was just going to say that. You have room for people to write their own.
Yeah. Affirmations, which is so important. But one of my favorites is, I release my body to do the work it needs to do and knows how to do to birth the baby. I know exactly what to do to birth my baby. My baby finds the perfect position to birth safely, easily, joyfully. These are huge issues that women are facing every day. Any pregnant person is facing any day. With their pregnancy, there's not a lot of trust that the body really knows how to do it, more now than ever before. We're in a critical time of doubt. There's a subtle, but in other ways, very blatant undermining of the woman's ability to be able to give birth. Yeah. To have those reminders in front of you, a lot of people don't have the support that says here, that create an affirmation or create visualizations around it.
I was very resistant to affirmations years ago.
Why?
I thought they were hippy-dippy, cheesy, like faux spiritual. I just didn't really get what it would do for me. I was very, very resistant to putting some. It seemed like, remember the old Stuart Smalley Saturday Night Live skit, which probably a lot of our listeners are too young to remember, but there was this guy who would look in the mirror and go, I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and gosh darn it, people like me. And I had that association with affirmations. And then actually after one of my births, when I had very difficult postpartum depression, and my midwife said, you're going to fill your brain up. And the more you fill your brain up with good stuff, the less room there is for bad stuff. And somehow that just made sense to me in a way that it never had before. Your brain's going to get on a groove, and your brain can either get on the groove, my kids aren't safe, my kids aren't safe, my kids aren't safe, or it can get on the groove, everyone's fine. Everything's,
right.
My daughter is safe, my husband is safe. And so I, as a doula, have used and suggested birth affirmations. At first I was hesitant to do it with, more mainstream people. suggest affirmations, but I think they're so powerful, actually. Have you used affirmations in your life?
I have used them. I used them for my second and third births, which were both home births. And I actually used them in my divorce.
Yeah.
And I saw a couple of women who were 20 years divorced and bitter.
Yeah.
And I couldn't do that. And I said, I made up the affirmations. I am experiencing unbridled joy. It's the best thing that has ever happened to me. And I've lived into that.
That's good.
It's informed every day of my life since then.
That's so, see, and I just want to add into that really positive affirmation you had during a very difficult time, I'm sure, in your life. I mean, and just to, people might be taken aback, like, what do you mean unbridled joy? You're getting divorced. I don't want to speak for you, Susan, but I'm sure it did not come easily to make a decision to divorce. I'm sure there was incredible thought and pain associated with it, especially with children involved and everything like that. But you went for what can I manifest this pain that what I'm going through and what others are going through, how can I manifest it to a better place? And that, I relate that to labor. People, it's painful. It's hard. It is friggin' hard work to get a baby, in many people's cases, into their body, and then for most everyone, hard to get it to come out of your body. And it's hard work and it's painful. But how can we make it something that is more positive and, like you said, unbridled joy?
Susan, I wonder if there were affirmations that you considered and didn't include because they were too specific or too outcome driven. Or, I think about women who have had very difficult, imagine a woman who's had a very difficult first birth and giving her affirmations the second time around where she feels like she's setting herself up for failure. How do you decide what kind of affirmations to use for yourself or to suggest to other people?
Well, so I'm going to go back to what ToRAISE said about, my divorce was hard. And I said those affirmations through clenched teeth.
Yeah.
I screamed them because they were not true.
Right.
But I was opening up myself to the possibility of that being true.
Right.
And I could grow into it because I could see it.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, if I understand that there's a different possibility and I can see it and name it, I can move into it. But if I don't know it exists, I can't move into it.
Right.
So the affirmations for me, I opened my heart. I thought about what are some pictures that women could move into. And so when I was in labor, my most important one was the pain is my power. It opens me up like a flower in bloom, making room for my baby's entry into the world. And so I was able to, the picture with it is of me holding a flower, a rose that was blooming that day. And I just looked at the flower and I imagined my cervix opening up like the rose and my daughter coming, I didn't know it was my daughter, but my daughter coming into the world with my cervix opening up. I imagined the pain as simply the most intense thing I had experienced, but I didn't hold myself tight, to control it or anything. And so the affirmations allowed me to trust and to have a picture of goodness and of everything in the right order and everything working the way it was supposed to. And that created a picture for me that I lived into. And so there were a few affirmations, but I don't even remember what they were. I ran this by a lot of people and said, is there anything here that's sticking for you? And so there were a couple I threw out, but I don't remember why.
Yeah.
But I did want to put one in for women who'd had C-sections,
right.
That my baby comes to me in the way that is right for the baby and me.
Exactly.
That's what I think is, I guess that's what I was getting at, is you didn't the affirmation isn't my baby will come through my vagina. My baby will come through my vagina. Right. If you've had a C-section before, you're not, because I think there's kind of a fine line between you're talking about you had to see this future in order to manifest it and see it as a possibility for yourself. But there is this fine line between that and what yours was, what was it about joy? Unbridled joy.
I'm experiencing unbridled joy.
I'm experiencing unbridled joy, but it wasn't specific like, this is going to happen to me. I mean, I think there's this line between useful affirmations and like The Secret, where if you think it'll, if you think I will make $1 million, then you will, because you put it out in the universe, you'll make $1 million. And I think that the affirmations in this book, are really lovely. So I want to talk a little bit about where to get the book. So you can get the book. Do you have any other questions, ToRAISE?
No, I guess the last one, Susan, is, or a comment, I guess, more than a question. I always did affirmations. I still use them every day in my life. I also encourage pregnant people to use them as well. What I love about this book, which is, I think, important for the mind as well to assimilate positivity, are the drawings that you chose to put in it, so that it's not simply a book of affirmations, which would have been enough, but the drawings of the other women or parts of their body, so you don't even see who these women are just really another, for so many people, I can see how that, just the image itself, let alone, they may just need the image, not the words. And so I think that's where the book was so very, very thoughtful. And, I appreciate that. So I guess it's not really a question, it's more of a comment. And it makes sense. You're an artist. you would include the art, but I want you to know that I think it really is a bonus to it, because it will benefit everyone, and for some it will be that will be their affirmation, is the visual drawings.
Do you sell the drawings?
Yes, I do.
Individually? Yes. Would that be?
And I do commissioned artwork as well.
Okay.
And I do prints of the drawings, and I do the portraits that I do are pencil, pastel, or oil. Okay. I do photography. Yeah, the whole deal. So
you can find this book. It's a small book. You can find it at birthaffirmationsbook.com. And one of the things, when I first saw it on ToRAISE's dining room table, and I'd heard about it, but I hadn't seen it, and I said, "Oh, look at that!" When I was a doula, I gave gifts to my clients at the postpartum visit. I would bring usually a book for a board book for the baby, or something about the mother-baby bond. Sometimes a picture frame or something like that. I think this would be for doulas listening, I think this would be a really lovely gift to give
at the beginning of the relationship.
Right at the beginning, not the end.
Yeah, I could see it being something that you purchase, and when your client signs on with you, you can include this in your package of information that you give them.
And one of your prenatals could actually be filling in some of the specific affirmations because each client is going to they're going to have their own hang-ups or fears or whatever. So you could actually make it a part of one of the prenatal visits, is figuring out which ones speak to the client, and then making some more. So you are offering a discount to ToRAISE Questions listeners. If you go to birthaffirmationsbook.com and enter in the code TOLABOR, you can get a 10% discount off this book if you would like to buy one, or 10 or 50. Yeah,
and the book, what Sarah was saying, but just to specify, it is it's more like like a pocketbook, but a little larger than a pocketbook, but it's not a huge book, and which makes it like when my daughter looked at it and she said, "Oh, I think it's perfect size," because then they can carry it with them wherever. They don't have to feel like they're lugging around something. It's something somebody can throw in their purse or their backpack if they're going somewhere and they want those affirmations with them. So
it's 4 by 5 inches.
That's what it is. Yeah.
The response that I normally get is people will pick it up and they'll put it next to their heart and put their hands crossed over it and go, "Oh, it's such a nice size."
Yeah. I think that's exactly what I did. I was like, "Oh, it's so it's littler than I expected, but it's kind of perfect."
Yeah.
And it's only $12.95, so it's reasonably priced.
Yes,
and
it is.
If people want to buy a bunch of them, I will sell wholesale. That's not
right.
a problem at all.
Okay, great.
And then just to clarify for everyone, you'll see it on Susan's website, the birthaffirmationsbook.com. But included in the book is a card about how you can buy the illustrations or get your own. This is something for the clients if they want, or you, a portrait of you and your baby, or just your baby, or your pregnant self, or whatever you want. So you'll have that information as well, besides listening to this.
And also check out Susan's regular art website. I guess you call it susansinger.com. We'll post this on our Facebook page. It's her series, Susan's, well, I'll talk to you since you're here. I don't have to talk about you in the third person. I didn't know you at all at the time, and I knew one of the nudes that you painted. And your series was really, life-changing for me. As one of the 99.9% of women in the world who have struggled with, or in America, who struggled with body image. It was a very important series for me. So not all of, I thank you for that. Thank you for that art. And
thank you.
I hope that the people listening, we have women, men, listening in mostly doulas, other birth-related professions. Check out the other art just because it's great, even though it's not necessarily birth-related.
Yeah. And thank you, Susan, for the book, and thank you for your time today.
Thank you all. Y'all are awesome interviewers. My gosh. It's really been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Great. And I'm sure our listeners are looking forward to knowing more about you, too. So we'll talk to you again.
Thank you, Susan.
Okay. Bye
Bye-bye.
now.
Bye.
Thanks, everybody, for listening. Thanks for having me back for an episode to visit.
Oh, it's so great. Sarah, I hope you will. Well, I know you will, because I'll pull you in to do this again. And thanks. It was a great talk with Susan.
Yeah.
And just want to say to people, please really... if I'm not sure that all doulas recommend affirmations to their clients, but and it's everybody's individual choice. But I really want to encourage that as just another one of the options that you offer to people. And for some, it's like, well, you said it, Sarah, it was kind of hippy-dippy feeling to you. For some, if they believe in prayer, they feel like, well, affirmations isn't what they should do. Well, it can take on...
It can be religion-based.
Yes, if that's what works with somebody.
Well, and if you're a doula, I would say before you recommend it to your client, try it yourself.
Yeah.
And whatever is, with your doula practice or your family or anything else, if as you're going off to a birth, you can have a sticky note on your mirror that says, I will make this birth. This birth will be better for my having provided support, or
right. I will know what to do.
I will know what to do. I'll know what to say. Yeah, things like that. So try it yourself first. I also want to ask everybody, please, to go, whether or not you listen to this podcast in iTunes, please go to iTunes and leave us a review, or leave them a review. I guess it's a them, not us. No,
you're still in us.
Leave them a review, and
please do that.
It helps people. It helps in the search. It helps people find.
It really does. I am so blown away and so appreciative of the wonderful emails we get from people to the ToRAISE Questions at gmail.com. At Gmail. .com.
Yeah.
Email address. That's where you can send in questions or leave us comments. I'm just so moved by the audience caring about this, but for our selfish reasons, we would love for you to do it, like Sarah said, on iTunes as well. It give us a rating and
subscribe,
and that helps it become even more visible to other listeners.